What a disaster. What a complete and total disaster. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity wasted for reasons unknown. It's pure speculation on my part, but I think a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity was wasted here because the WNBA, they were more concerned with upsetting veteran players. And speaking of veteran dump divers, they were celebrating in Paris this weekend. If they weren't wearing Team USA jerseys, I would have thought Waste Management was holding their annual trash convention in Paris. Over the weekend, the women's basketball team, they won their 8th consecutive gold medal. These women are amazing! They have once again proven they are the best basketball players in the world. This is great for the WNBA. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. Let me ask you something. How many of you knew about this? How many of you guys knew that the elite athletes in the WNBA won their 8th consecutive gold medal this weekend? If I had to guess, very few. Why? Because no one was watching. And the reason no one was watching is because the only draw in the dump, she was sitting in Yankee Stadium thumb wrestling with Aaron Judge. Well, Casey, Angel Reese wasn't at Yankee Stadium this weekend. She was in Chicago trying to recruit new teammates to the Chicago Bravado. Who said anything about Angel Reese? I said the only draw, the only star in the WNBA was at Yankee Stadium this weekend. The situation between Caitlin Clark and Team USA, which might as well be the WNBA, this situation, it kind of reminds me of the situation between Shaq and the Orlando Magic. When Shaq arrived in Orlando, I think it was 1992, the Orlando Magic, they were completely irrelevant. If there was a dump in the NBA, it was in Orlando. Franchise was young, only a couple of years old. Shaq arrives in Orlando and completely revolutionizes the franchise. One star player changed the trajectory of the Orlando Magic. Within 3 years, they were competing in the NBA Finals, and they were viewed as the team of the future in the NBA. There was just one problem, one tiny problem. Not only did the Magic lowball Shaq during negotiations, the Orlando Sentinel, they released a poll that claimed citizens in Orlando thought that Shaq was going to be overpaid. Basically, they refused to milk the cash cow. When a cow is full of milk, what does a farmer do? He milks it. He damn sure doesn't let the neighboring farmer come over and put his hands all over the tit. But that is exactly what the Orlando Magic did. They pissed Shaq off. They allowed the Lakers to enter the picture, and Shaq carried their ass to 3 championships. Championships that could have and should have been won in Orlando if they had taken advantage of the opportunity. Here we are 30 years later. The Orlando Magic still have not won a title. Same situation with Caitlin Clark and the WNBA in the Olympics. This was your chance. This was the WNBA's chance to grow their league on a global level. This was also their chance to expose the league to millions of people here in America. And what did they do with their opportunity? In their infinite brilliance, they left the cash cow in Iowa. As a result, ratings for women's basketball at the Olympics, huge, embarrassing failure. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Now, ratings have already been released for damn near every event at the Olympics, but for some reason, the ratings haven't been released yet for the women's gold medal game, which took place on Saturday. I wonder why. The men played Saturday. Their ratings have been released. How come we have yet to see the ratings for the women? Even though the elite athletes in the WNBA beat France and won the gold medal, most people claim that the game was painfully boring. Now, I didn't waste my time watching the game, but I didn't need to waste my time watching to know that the game was painfully boring. I have never seen a WNBA game that could be described as entertaining. The only thing entertaining about the WNBA is the constant mistakes, and the fact that they call missed wide open layups dunks. Game was tied 25-25 at halftime, and that's not a mistake. I did not say it was 25-25 at the end of the first quarter. Both teams combined to score 50 points in 20 minutes. Now, I can only speculate as to why ratings have yet to be released. This is the problem when daily ratings reports disappear and people like me no longer have access. Without the daily reports we used to get, it seems like we are only given the ratings they want us to know about. But I guarantee you, if the women had drawn decent ratings, we would know about it. Have you guys noticed we've barely heard anything about ratings for women's basketball at the Olympics? I have had to dig through articles at Sports Media Watch just to be able to find them. And they're always a footnote towards the bottom of an article that's talking about Team USA for the dudes. The mainstream media, they have barely mentioned the American women. The only time they have made headlines is when Bob Greiner cried during the playing of the national anthem. And I'll give credit where credit is due. I thought American athletes were phenomenal at the Olympics. For the first time in years, I thought the country was represented well. The transformation of Brittany Griner, that could have been a huge story. This was someone who pretended to hate America. This was someone who claimed that she was living in oppression. She had the distinct pleasure of experiencing real oppression with Vlad Putin, and all of a sudden, Bobby G has a new appreciation for her home country. The Olympics are all about patriotism, and that could have been a heartwarming patriotic story. But it was barely covered. Why? Because the women's team spent 2 weeks in Paris and they barely got noticed. Their first game at the Olympics, it drew just over 3 million viewers. Well, KC, that number is great! Yeah, it's great when you compare it to the average game in the WNBA. If you compared women's basketball at the Olympics to the Dallas Wankers versus the LA Sparkles, those 3 million viewers, they look great. But when you compare it to everything else at the Olympics, it is clear the WNBA couldn't draw flies to a fresh turd. When Simone Biles won the gold medal, 12 million viewers. Steph Curry and the dudes, they were pulling 6, 7, 8, sometimes 9 million. Hell, the Star Game in the WNBA, which was played a week before the Olympics, the damn Star Game drew more than 3 million. Well, Casey, don't you mean the All-Star Game? No, because there was only one star on the court. In order to have an all-star game, you have to have all stars. What the WNBA had was Caitlin Clark and 9 other unknown players. During the 2012 Olympics, when the women played Croatia, they drew 11 million viewers. Last week against Belgium, 2.1 million. How in the hell is that possible? How in the hell are ratings going down during the later rounds of the tournament? With the men, it was the complete opposite. As the dudes progressed through the Olympics, ratings got higher and higher. With the women, they went backwards. You know, this is embarrassing. This should be humiliating for the WNBA. If I was an executive at NBC, if I was running the Olympics, I would be pissed with the dump. The WNBA, they allowed the egos of veteran players to get in the way of doing business. And this would be a much bigger story if the Olympics were struggling, but since ratings have been so good, it's kind of going under the radar. It's also going under the radar because the mainstream media, they refuse to report it. The other day, Lisa Leslie, she was asked about Caitlin Clark not being included on Team USA. Well, KC, who in the hell is Leslie Lisa? Leslie is considered a legend in the WNBA. She is the first player in the history of the league to actually dunk a basketball. Now, when I read that earlier today, I went back and checked the footage. I was able to confirm that this was not a modern WNBA dunk. This was not a layup. Lisa Leslie, she actually dunked the ball. But the other day, she was asked about the exclusion of Caitlin Clark in a league that's supposedly dedicated to inclusion. Lisa Leslie, she repeated the same excuses. Katie Rue Clark couldn't be on the team. She hasn't spent the last year training with these phenomenal athletes. She was playing basketball professionally at Iowa when training camp for the Olympics began. She doesn't have chemistry with the players. She doesn't know the coaches. You don't understand? It's not easy putting this team together. It's about more than just basketball. The only part I agreed with is when Lisa Leslie said it's about more than just basketball. She is absolutely right. And it's why Caitlin Clark should have been included. From the WNBA's perspective, the 2024 Olympics, it wasn't just about winning the gold medal. Hell, you already won 7 in a row and no one gave a shit. This damn league could win 70 in a row and most people still wouldn't realize that the WNBA exists. The Olympics should have been about growing your brand, and the only way to do that is by using the star power at your disposal. Most of the women's games, they were broadcast on USA and Peacock. If Caitlin Clark was on the team, I would imagine NBC would put them in prime time. Do you realize how many millions of women that the WNBA missed out on here? Like I've said before, the Olympics, they are extremely popular with women. There are women who watch the Olympics who don't watch any other sports. Past 2 weeks, my mom, she has been glued to the TV watching the Olympics. Next month, when the NFL kicks off, couldn't care less. This was the WNBA's opportunity to expand their fan base. This was the WNBA's opportunity to expose Caitlin Clark to millions of women who, believe it or not, a lot of them probably have never watched her play basketball before. And you blew the opportunity and we still don't know why? There's not been a single excuse given that explains why Caitlin Clark was left off the team. Me personally, I think it's because the veterans on the team, they didn't want Caitlin Clark taking away their spotlight. Now that strategy failed to work since there were more eyes on Caitlin Clark here in America than there were on the dump divers over in Paris. Caitlin Clark at Yankee Stadium this weekend, nonstop media coverage. WNBA wins another gold medal, no one cares. Well, KC, Caitlin Clark will make the team in 2028. The WNBA can grow the league then. Yeah, that's not guaranteed. 4 years is a long time. Anything can happen. Her drawing power could decline. God forbid she has a career-altering injury. To hell with 2028 anyway. The time was now. But time ran out because the WNBA did what the WNBA always does. They find a unique way to fuck things up. But give me your thoughts on this. Now, ratings have not been released for the gold medal game just yet, but ratings throughout the Olympics, terrible for the WNBA. Was this a missed opportunity to grow the league? Why do you think Caitlin Clark was left off the team? Give me your reason. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.